I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history.
I said that having read through Blake Lively's complaints, that it was evident to me that she was likely under the influence when she filed her complaint. Not under the influence of drugs, not under the influence of alcohol, but of the influence of proximity to Taylor Swift.
Hollywood was thrown into chaos in late 2024 when simmering tensions between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni erupted into a volcanic public feud. A spectacle that captivated the world and exposed the raw, often brutal underbelly of the entertainment industry. Lively, a beloved icon of Hollywood glamour and perceived as untouchable, ignited the firestorm with a devastating complaint. A meticulously crafted legal document that accused Baldoni, her director and co-star in the highly anticipated adaptation of It Ends With Us, of fostering a work environment so toxic and hostile it sent shivers down the spines of industry insiders. Her accusations were not vague whispers. They were searing, detailed, and deeply personal, painting a disturbing portrait of Baldoni's alleged behavior, meticulously cataloging instances of sexual harassment, intimidation, and a pattern of disrespect that went far beyond professional disagreements. Baldoni, caught completely off guard by the ferocity and public nature of Lively's assault, vehemently and unequivocally denied each and every allegation, branding them as fabrications, desperate attempts to salvage a damaged reputation, and the opening shots in a legal and PR war that threatened to consume both their careers and reputations. The initial clash was not merely a disagreement. It was a declaration of war, a high-stakes showdown in the unforgiving arena of Hollywood, setting the stage for a brutal and protracted battle that promised to expose the darkest corners of fame and power.
And that's part of the point that Justin's team is making in kind of complying with what they're viewing as threats made on her behalf against Justin is like, well, there's this financial consequence to everything in addition to the strike consequences too, right? So they filmed May to June, then shut down for the strike, and then they were down until January. But I think that the strike lifted in November, but then she had all these return to work provisions.
The initial shockwaves of Lively's accusations were immediately and exponentially amplified by a journalistic detonation of immense magnitude, a meticulously researched and deeply damning exposé published by the New York Times. This wasn't just a news article. It was a strategic weapon, a meticulously crafted piece of investigative journalism that seemed to unequivocally corroborate Lively's most explosive claims, detailing with chilling precision an alleged clandestine smear campaign orchestrated by Baldoni and his team. The Times report painted a picture of shadowy PR operatives, digital armies, and a calculated effort to systematically dismantle Lively's reputation, triggered by her audacity to speak out against Baldoni's alleged misconduct. The exposé, delivered with the credibility and authority of the New York Times, acted as a catalyst, instantly solidifying public opinion against Baldoni and fueling a firestorm of condemnation. The article became a rallying cry for those who had long suspected the existence of Hollywood's dark side, instantly transforming Lively from a beleaguered actress into a symbol of courage and resistance against industry power structures, while casting Baldoni as the embodiment of unchecked privilege and abusive power. The swift and decisive outpouring of public support for Lively, coupled with the near-universal condemnation of Baldoni, created a narrative that seemed almost impossible to overcome, a public relations nightmare that threatened to obliterate Baldoni's career before the legal battle had even truly begun.
Justin says that Blake was determined to make him the real-life villain in her story because she wasn't doing well on the promo tour for the movie. It was very tone-deaf. Her hair care line wasn't doing well. She was trying to sell booze while talking about domestic violence. Justin says the war between himself and Blake really started in May 2023 when they started shooting the movie. He claims that she was organizing a takeover strategy.
However, in a dramatic twist that showcased the unpredictable and often ruthless nature of Hollywood power dynamics, the seemingly insurmountable narrative began to fracture as Baldoni launched a strategic and multifaceted counteroffensive, demonstrating a resolve and legal firepower that few had anticipated. Baldoni's initial move was a bold and audacious one, a staggering defamation lawsuit against the New York Times itself, a David versus Goliath maneuver that signaled his determination to fight back against what he perceived as a biased and agenda-driven media assault. This wasn't a defensive crouch. It was a calculated strike, a legal and PR gamble designed to undermine the credibility of Lively's most powerful weapon, the Times exposé, and to sow seeds of doubt in the public's mind. Simultaneously, Baldoni's legal team unleashed a $400 million countersuit, a financial and legal broadside aimed directly at Lively Ryan Reynolds and her PR apparatus. This wasn't just about defending his name. It was about turning the tables, portraying Lively as the aggressor and painting her accusations as a calculated smear campaign designed to damage his career and reputation. Baldoni's counteroffensive was a high-stakes gamble, a move that risked further inflaming public opinion, but also offered a potential pathway to reclaiming the narrative and portraying himself not as a villain, but as a victim of a powerful and vindictive Hollywood machine.
In Blake's first amended complaint, Blake changed what she alleges about what happened while filming the slow dance scene, now that the footage has been released for everyone to see. So what they're saying is, now that, Justin Baldoni shared the truth of what it looks like, they're no longer making the same claims. Previously, they said Miss Lively was filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. Of course, Justin proved there was sound. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. Instead, he spoke to Miss Lively out of character as himself.
A cornerstone of Baldoni's counter strategy was a meticulously planned and strategically executed PR campaign designed to directly challenge Lively's narrative and present an alternative version of events to the voracious media and the increasingly polarized public. Central to this PR offensive was the calculated release of raw, unedited footage from the set of It Ends With Us, a daring and unconventional tactic aimed at providing visual evidence to contradict Lively's claims of a hostile work environment. The released video, carefully selected and strategically disseminated, focused on a seemingly innocuous and even amicable dance scene between Lively and Baldoni, depicting a professional and even warm atmosphere on set, a stark contrast to Lively's accusations of intimidation and harassment. Baldoni's team presented this footage as irrefutable proof that Lively's claims were exaggerated, fabricated, or at the very least, taken wildly out of context, arguing that the video demonstrated a consensual and professional working relationship, not a toxic and abusive one. However, this strategic release of footage was a double-edged sword, a gamble that could either exonerate Baldoni or further incriminate him, depending entirely on how the public and the media chose to interpret the carefully selected and strategically framed visual evidence.
Was what Blake says, a conversation that she heard had taken place with Steve Sarowitz. Steve Sarowitz is the head of Wayfair Studios. He is the co-founder of Wayfair Studios along with Justin. And she says in this lawsuit that, is it interesting? She says, this is what I heard, he said, but it's presented as a quote in the lawsuit. She says that Steve said, I will protect the studio like Israel protected itself from Hamas.
In a dramatic and unexpected twist that further complicated the already convoluted narrative, a leaked voice memo surfaced, adding another layer of ambiguity and fueling further speculation about the true nature of the conflict. The leaked audio, reportedly a private message from Baldoni to Lively, revealed Baldoni apologizing for unspecified actions and acknowledging that he had fallen short. This leaked apology tape became a Rorschach test for public opinion, interpreted in wildly divergent ways depending on pre-existing biases and allegiances. Baldoni's supporters pointed to the apology as evidence of his inherent decency and willingness to take responsibility, portraying it as a genuine attempt at reconciliation and a sign of his good faith. Conversely, Lively's camp strategically spun the leaked apology as a tacit admission of guilt, arguing that Baldoni's remorseful tone and explicit acknowledgement of falling short served as undeniable validation of Lively's initial complaints and provided further evidence of his inappropriate behavior on set. The leaked voice memo, rather than clarifying the situation, served only to deepen the divisions and further polarize public opinion, becoming yet another battleground in the ongoing PR war.
that she became uncomfortable with Justin Baldoni yesterday while she was filming. She states that Mr. Baldoni put his bare hands on her backside and said that he was trying to help her with her posture. Complainant immediately voiced her displeasure with being touched on an intimate part of her body, and Mr. Baldoni responded with, "It's fine, I'm totally hot for my wife," in a dismissive tone.
Adding fuel to the already raging fire, veteran journalist Megyn Kelly, known for her sharp commentary and no-nonsense approach, publicly weighed in on the feud, delivering a scathing and highly publicized critique of Blake Lively and her accusations. Kelly, leveraging her influential platform and considerable media reach, declared unequivocally that she fully disbelieved Lively's account of victimhood, branding her a Hollywood fabulist, and drawing unflattering parallels to the deeply controversial figure of Amber Heard. Kelly's commentary was not subtle or nuanced. It was a full-throated assault on Lively's credibility, accusing her of manipulating the MeToo movement for personal gain, fabricating allegations, and engaging in a calculated smear campaign of her own against Baldoni. Kelly's forceful and highly publicized intervention marked a significant turning point in the public narrative, providing a powerful countervoice to the initial wave of support for Lively and offering a platform for those who were skeptical of her claims. Her commentary acted as a lightning rod, attracting both fervent support and equally vehement condemnation, but undeniably shifting the momentum of the public debate and eroding Lively's previously unassailable public image.
He claims she tried to take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do is direct it and edit it and produce it. I want all the roles for me and only me. I want full control because I am a controlling bully. That Justin Baldoni, ultimately, by the time they got to the premiere, was mandated by Blake Lively to spend the night in the basement away from his co-stars and didn't even get to see the final cut of his own movie because Blake Lively insisted that she be the one to approve it.
Kelly's highly critical stance and public pronouncements against Lively resonated deeply with a segment of the public, particularly those already predisposed to skepticism towards MeToo allegations, or those wary of what they perceived as Hollywood's liberal and often performative activism. Her commentary, amplified by her extensive media reach and conservative-leaning audience, provided a potent counter-narrative, portraying Lively not as a courageous victim, but as a manipulative and calculating actress exploiting a social movement for personal and professional advantage. Kelly's comparison of Lively to Amber Heard, a figure synonymous with public disgrace and perceived as a liar and manipulator, was particularly damaging, instantly associating Lively in the public's mind with dishonesty and a lack of credibility. This strategic and highly effective alignment of Kelly's powerful voice with Baldoni's defense significantly amplified the backlash against Lively, transforming her in the eyes of some from a wronged whistleblower into a calculating aggressor, and further solidifying a counter-narrative that cast Baldoni as the unfairly maligned party, a victim of a ruthless and opportunistic Hollywood takedown attempt.
Dear Judge Lyman, as counsel for Wayfair Studios LLC, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, It Ends With Us Movie LLC, Melissa Nathan, the Agency Group PR LLC, and Jennifer Abel, collectively the Wayfarer parties, we write to advise the court of an issue that the Wayfarer parties wish to address at the upcoming conference on Monday, February 3rd, 2025.
Baldoni's legal and PR team strategically capitalized on Kelly's platform and amplified her message, recognizing the immense value of her credibility and reach in their ongoing battle for public opinion. His lawyer, Brian Friedman, became a frequent guest on Kelly's show, utilizing her platform to disseminate leaked evidence, present Baldoni's perspective, and further discredit Lively's accusations. This calculated alliance between Baldoni's legal team and Kelly's media platform proved to be a highly effective strategy, allowing Baldoni to bypass traditional media gatekeepers and directly appeal to a large and receptive audience, effectively circumventing the initially negative narrative that had dominated mainstream media coverage. The feud, increasingly, became less about the specifics of on-set behavior and more about a brutal and no-holds-barred battle for public perception. A high-stakes media war fought through strategic leaks, carefully curated narratives, and the calculated deployment of influential media figures to sway public opinion and shape the prevailing narrative.
And I think that the Justin and Blake stuff is, I think it's a big PR game, and I think that we're all the pawns of it. And also that story I gave you, that's one where I've talked to them. I feel comfortable sharing that much. Like, good luck. There's so many different groups out there.
The relentless and deeply public spectacle of the lively Baldoni feud, with its dueling lawsuits, strategically leaked evidence, and high-profile media commentary, inevitably inflicted significant and potentially long-lasting reputational damage on both stars, regardless of the ultimate legal outcome. Lively, once universally adored and perceived as untouchable, suddenly found herself facing unflattering comparisons to Amber Heard, accusations of manipulation and dishonesty, and a significant erosion of her carefully crafted public image as a relatable and down-to-earth Hollywood darling. Baldoni, while gaining some traction in the court of public opinion and successfully countering the initial wave of condemnation, remained indelibly stained by the serious allegations of harassment, his reputation bruised, and his career prospects clouded by the lingering shadow of the scandal. The highly anticipated promotional campaign for It Ends With Us, once envisioned as a triumphant box office moment, was completely and irrevocably overshadowed by the messy and deeply personal legal quagmire, transforming what should have been a celebration of artistic collaboration into a public relations disaster of epic proportions. A cautionary tale of how quickly Hollywood dreams can turn into nightmares.
Was what Blake says, a conversation that she heard had taken place with Steve Sarowitz. Steve Sarowitz is the head of Wayfair Studios. He is the co-founder of Wayfair Studios, along with Justin. And she says in this lawsuit that, and is it interesting? She says, this is what I heard, he said, but it's presented as a quote in the lawsuit. She says that Steve said, I will protect the studio like Israel protected itself from Hamas.
In sight, the lively Baldoni saga stands as a stark and deeply unsettling cautionary tale of Hollywood ego, unchecked ambition, and the corrosive power of betrayal, all played out under the unforgiving glare of the global spotlight. Whether justice will ultimately be served, and which party will emerge victorious from the legal and PR wreckage, remains Juan Erwe Jue. But one thing is demonstrably certain. This feud, regardless of its ultimate outcome, has left an indelible and undoubtedly damaging mark on both stars' careers, reputations, and legacies, underscoring the volatile and often brutal intersection of fame, power, and the ever-fickle court of public opinion in the ruthless and unforgiving landscape of the modern entertainment industry. The final act of this real-life Hollywood drama, with its inherently uncertain outcome and lingering questions about the elusive nature of truth, the manipulative power of perception, and the enduring consequences of unchecked ego, is still yet to be written, leaving audiences worldwide to ponder the lasting and deeply unsettling impact of this profoundly divisive and intensely public conflict. A saga that will undoubtedly be dissected and debated for years to come as a chilling example of the dark side of fame and the fragility of reputation in the age of instant media and relentless public scrutiny.